Big Blend Radio's Toast to the Arts show with Nancy and Lisa, the crazy mother-daughter hosts of Big Blend Radio and travelers on the Love Your Parks tour and publishers of Big Blend magazines, a group of different digital publications. You just heard Social Fake. Now that is the title track from the new album by British symphonic rock ensemble Winter in Eden. And go to their website, winterineden.com. Go to Facebook, all those places. Get connected. I mean, that is some epic, epic music. And we're super excited to have Vicky-Johnson, who is the lead vocalist. Like, she's the front woman of the band, and she is here with us today, all the way from, northeast of England. Welcome to the show, Vicky.
Hi. It's lovely to speak to you both.
Oh, this is my accent's gonna change by the time of this. I love it. Just hearing you make me feel at home. You know, I don't sound like it, but you make me feel like I'm at home, and wonderful to have you here. And this is like the fourth. How many albums now? I'm gonna get my accounting on.
This is the fourth album that we've released now. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. And you guys have been together for a while now, right?
Yeah, we have. I mean, as Winter in Eden, we have been together since it's about 2008, I would say now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
And you're still married.
Well, it's interesting because I am actually married to the keyboard player.
Oh. Okay. Steve. See, that's what I said. You're still married. See, this is awesome.
I mean, my husband and I actually met in the school band.
No way.
And we've
cool.
kind of, so I guess it was our love of music that kind of brought us together, really. And so we've always worked together musically. And then Winter in Eden kind of came along sometime after that. But yes, Steve, my husband, is the keyboard player. And he's also obviously a songwriter, as we all are, and he produced the last album. So it's the first time we've really had a go at doing it ourselves. So this is an album that Steve produced this time. So,
but it's like a heavy album. This is epic. Like, you know, the instrumentation is incredible, and the dynamics that you guys bring in, I think, is really powerful. And like Nancy's always talking about rock operas. Like, you guys have it. Like, boom, you guys could
do a rock opera.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I really wish somebody would please do one.
Yeah. I think you found the band, Nancy. This is like, it's not even, I know there's Prog-Rock, right? And I know you've had some great
but there's something
reviews
deeper
from Prog-Rock magazine, but like, you guys are taking this to a whole different level. You know, I feel like it's just, there's like another force with it. There's like this force.
We need a new hair. We need a new rock opera. We
really
need
a Winter in Eden rock opera.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about this album, Critical Mass is like a 3-part series in the album.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already going there.
Yeah.
The Dear Diary,
got
man,
the
that kind of freaks me out.
I mean, you've already got the title. Critical Mass is awesome.
For the 3-part, that's like the section of the album. The album, again, everyone's
I know, but
fake.
you know what I'm saying? That's a really great title for a rock opera.
And actually, Critical Mass starts on the last album as well.
Mm.
Oh, you guys are already doing it.
So we've already, and it was the same with album 1 and 2. We had Awakening, so we had different chapters spanning the first 2 albums, and then we've done the same with the 3rd and 4th album with Critical Mass. So we like to tell a bit of a story.
Yeah, you geek out on this. I know you. I can hear like in the music that there's so much thought has been put into this. There's no notes that are just there.
No,
and I think that's beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, it has, and I mean, especially this album has taken the longest. I mean, the first album we released in 2010, then we did one in 2012, then 2014. So we've had a massive gap for this one. But I mean, I could tell you so many stories about the stops and starts with this one, but we wanted it to be just right. I mean, in the past, we've gone to studios, you've booked a time to do your thing, and then at the end of it, that's it. So you were always mindful of how much time that you spent on certain things. But with this, I've said this a few times, but, I recorded at home. And Steve recorded me, and there was times when I was like, go down at night in my dressing gown, and the comfort factor was fantastic. And for me as well, with me not being a trained vocalist, you always have the kind of idea at the back of your mind that, well, I don't want to go to, try and hit that note and absolutely go for it, and then I've spoilt my voice for the rest of the weeks that we've kind of got booked in to do the recording. Whereas when I've recorded at home, that really didn't matter, because if there was an issue or whatever, then we just left it and came back to it and revisited it. So I think the level of comfort with this one was far greater than any of the others. And it also meant we from the beginning, we had a guitarist, Sam Cole, who left us partway through recording this album. It was already written, but he left us partway through recording it, sadly, because he was an absolutely fantastic, it was a major part of the band. And so yes, when he left, we had discording again as far as the guitars were concerned. So what that meant was that we had the opportunity to revisit it. And Steve, we had this conversation the other day. Steve said to me that normally he would write the parts, he would record his own parts, and then everyone would go into the studio, and then it was what it was. And but this time round, and because he was producing it as well, if something came back that he thought, well, actually, I could do something slightly different there that was a bit more complimentary. And so that's what happened. So it's actually really, really crafted this time. And the hours that were spent on this album are amazing. But we're over the moon with the final product, which is the main thing.
But how do you know when to stop? Because you could keep doing things and redoing, and there's always, tweak it here, tweak it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you know, when do you get to the point where you all agree this is it?
That's a good point. And for me, I'm a perfectionist. So I'll go back. No, I've got a better take than that in me. I've got a better take than that. But sometimes it's just a feeling. And you say, actually, I'm not going to get a better take than that. And other times it's Steve saying to me, Vicky, you sang that 10 million times, and the first time you sang it was the best. So stop. You're not getting any better. So yeah, I think it's a great thing.
This goes back to me saying, how you're still married after all these years in the band together? Because it's hard, because it's the personalities, and you are gonna, people are going to change. You're going to have a shift change. It happens when the longer you're doing it, the more chance of that happening, in a band. But give a shout out to the rest of the guys in the band. Let's hear who's doing what, because the musicianship is, I'm sorry, badass. It is good.
It's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's some licks in there that I'm going, no way. There's just certain things.
Here.
Yeah, because there's just, when you listen to the album, it's one of those things you listen more than once. And obviously, I know you were going to be on a live show a few weeks ago, and we had to postpone that. But I've listened to this over and over, and every time I listen, I'm like, holy crap! That part there, and it's one of those albums you're going to hear something different each time. And I think the musicians you have are pretty darn incredible.
Thank you. I mean, that's always something that at the end of the day, we've all come from different backgrounds and listened to different music. And we made the decision quite early on that we were going to write together. So some of the songs that you can hear, it might be that it started off with it could have been something that I had going around in my head. I mean, I'm also a pianist as well, so so that was how I started in music, and it might have been something that Steve started with, or Sam brought to the table, or Ian. So I mean, just running through the kind of the whole band as such, we have Ian Heddle, who is the bass guitarist. He's the only other original member now. And then we have Steve Hawkswell on drums, and he's been with us since just after the second album was recorded. And we have Benji Lynch, who is the newbie, and he was the one that joined us after sadly Sam left. And he recorded all of the guitars, and having not written the songs with us. So, but his contribution was massive, absolutely massive. And so even though he wasn't one of the songwriters, some of the ideas that he came up with, you know, for the recording were immense, and definitely I think has helped to craft, you know, the album into what it is. But yeah, so everybody kind of contributes as such, and brings different ideas. Everybody's got a different musical background, and so we always think of ourselves as a bit of a melting pot. So one of the things I like when I listen to an album is light and shade, different elements to it. I don't like to hear the same song in a slightly different version all the way through the album, because it just turns me off. There are certain bands that I really like, but I couldn't listen to the album all the way through because I just feel like I've kind of already heard that song. So we definitely you know, like to mix it up a little bit, and actually have a kind of a very much something in mind when we put a certain song in a certain place on the album as well. That is, there's some thought that goes into that too. So
yeah, because it's a flow. You definitely, the album takes you on a journey, and I always listen for that in albums. Like, some albums can just jump you all over the place, which can be fun depending on the type of music. You know, if it's reggae, that's cool. But your style of music, it's got to have a flow, and you have a build-up that is so epic. But then you've got to bring us down. So it's kind of like you bring like a natural flow into what a body will do and like what nature does. I always go to nature, because it's true. Like if you have like an ocean movement, the tide goes in, the tide comes, you know, goes out. So it comes in, goes out, excuse me. And that's kind of what your music does with this album. I think it's always important about the set list. Well, I always say it's a permanent set list. Put it on an album. That's it. That's your set list. You know, and it's not like you can just switch it over when someone listens. Like when you're doing a performance, you can go, hey, we better do this. The crowd needs this now. You know, you can do that changeover. But you can't really, once you've got the album out, it's out. So that's got to be hard to. Do you guys like argue over it?
I mean, to be fair, I've normally come up with as far as the albums are concerned, I've normally come up with the song order as such, and said to the others, what do you think? And they've normally gone along with what I've thought. I mean, Ian normally has a few ideas on it as well, but we're normally kind of along the same lines. With that, I mean, but to be honest with you, I mean, we have working titles. I mean, we've had some ridiculous working titles like "Don't Feed Them After Midnight" and things like that. You know, to get a bit of a Gremlins reference. And half the time, the guys can't remember what the actual title of the song is. They just remember the working title. So it takes quite a while for them to get into the flow of the kind of what the song is called. But yes, funny. I mean when Steve and I left school, we went out as a duo, and we were playing covers. We were playing all sorts of different types of tracks in different venues, and over here at working men's clubs, which is basically people just kind of going for a drink and wanting to be entertained, but not really bothered as to kind of who's on the stage as such, just wanting some entertainment. And we have bingo over here. I don't know if you have bingo over there.
Oh,
but
yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the musicians would play around the bingo.
You're the background.
Effectively. I mean, we've gone to play
bingo
before where our set has been cut to 10 minutes to allow to go to them to play bingo. But it really was it really was a good kind of education for us as to this song doesn't work here. This is where people are at the minute. This is how you've got to open a set. And it took us a while to kind of figure out what people wanted and why and how they were feeling at a certain point in the set. And, you know, people don't want you to keep hammering them with lots of busy songs to start with. And normally by song 3, you're ready for a kind of a change. So it was good grounding for us, definitely.
Mm-hmm. You know, and you can't get in the way of the bingo because those grannies will get you. They will. Sorry. And listen, I know it's not just grannies, but like we always talk about bingo wings. You know, it's like the arms of women. So when they ring their arm, they go shout bingo, their arm wings flap.
Yes. Yeah. Bingo wings.
He's got to watch the flappers, girls. Watch
or wear long sleeves. No more short
bingo
sleeves.
wings.
If you got bingo wings, you got to wear long sleeves.
And the band could be in trouble if someone with bingo wings comes at you because you didn't let them shout bingo. You're done.
Have you done this where you're performing and then somebody yells bingo?
Well, yeah. See, that's what you can't get in the way of that. You know.
Absolutely.
And so those kind of gigs though really make you tough as well. I mean, our band used to be like. I remember once we were setting up. We were performing and we had every technical thing, electricity not working here. I mean, we got to a point of like drums and acoustic guitar and me singing like really loud. And this woman comes up and she's drunk in my face. She goes, "I'm not tipping the band unless you play Mustang Sally." And I'm like, don't you? I can't even because I'm trying to behave on the radio show because I had nothing nice to say back to her. Like, you know, because
but that was the horse riding camp thing.
No, that was the horse riding camp. I don't know, but listen, there's certain songs we're done with, and they're really good songs, but we're done with it.
But like still,
do they like over in England? Are people wanting certain songs if you play in those kind of? I mean, do they want Stairway to Heaven? Like if you're in this country and you're in those kind of bars, they want Freebird. They want Stairway to Heaven. I mean, do you get that over in England?
Oh, there was. I mean, it's actually quite a while since we played those types of clubs. But I mean, when we played, do you remember the song "Hey Baby"? I mean, it was like.
By who?
I can't even remember who it's by. To be honest,
that's how good it is.
That's how good. It's not a fantastic song, but everybody was chanting it at the end of the night, whether we played it or not. It goes through phases. It just depends on how drunk people are,
right? And it depends on where you are. So if you're in this country, if you're in the South, you better play Freebird. You know, it depends on like if you're California, it could be something completely different depending on where you are, what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Because it's regional music too, you know.
I mean,
England.
The menu.
Hey Baby, I'm looking at Hey Baby, the Hey Baby song. Oh, this is weird. Hey Baby.
She's gonna torture me all day with this.
Hey Baby, I want to know if you'll be my
girl.
That's
the one.
Hey Baby. Okay, so it's by Bruce Channel. Nice name.
No, I who he is.
I don't either, but it says YouTube Captain Jim Kirk.
What? It was all about kind of everybody chanting that "Hey Baby" rather than you know it wasn't. I mean, at once upon a time.
It was interactive. Yeah.
Yes, exactly that. That's right.
That's funny.
But those are the kind of gigs. Like now you're doing different. Are you out performing now? Because I know COVID screwed everybody up. But are you out with a new album, touring, or what's happening on that level?
So I mean, it's actually a while since we last played a gig. I think it was 2019 was the last time that we played a gig together. So it's a while, obviously, lockdown, and then kind of COVID. We were planning because we had the album that came out in March. We were planning to do a big album launch, and then we could just see the figures going back up, and we thought, hang on a minute, and actually, luckily, what we did was we did an online listening party instead of the album launch, and it is a good job that we did because our drummer had a family emergency, so he couldn't actually come to that, so we wouldn't have been able to do the gig anyway. So but yes, it was, we were very much watching what was going on and thinking, how is that going to one, is the show actually even going to go ahead, but how is that going to impact upon numbers, are people going to book in advance, etc. So we decided we've got a couple of shows coming up near the end of the year, just because at that time when we were booking, we thought that was going to be the more sensible thing to do. Plus the fact a lot of shows over here have been put on hold. So certain people that were going to be playing have already had that booking and have had to have it postponed a couple of times already. So actually having the availability was another matter too. So it will be interesting once we do get back out again, which we're looking forward to. But actually, it's made us realise how important it is to have more of an online presence, and that's something that we're looking at pursuing further. I know that when Benji joined the band, he said to me, "You really need to be doing a little bit more online." He said to me that I really need to be doing some kind of videos of myself on the channel, just singing, etc. And it's something I've always planned on doing, and I don't know what's stopping me really, but it is something that we're going to do when we're going to push this kind of live.
For Social Fake, you got a video on your YouTube channel.
We have. So, but what we're wanting to do is more kind of live performances, really. Because we if you look at the profile and the people that follow us, there's a quite a large international presence rather than just obviously being local to us. So, if we do gigs here, it's not necessarily going to help from an international perspective. So, so therefore, with that's what we're thinking about now, because the listening party was so much fun, that we could get to kind of talk to and interact and go through all of the songs with everybody and chat with everyone. And we thought, no, we need to do more of this really. So that's something that we're looking at pursuing more actively now.
Yeah, we're a lot of musicians, when COVID first happened, we just went live like daily. And then, musicians were doing streaming and, all kinds of creative things, which were awesome. And musicians, though it sucked because we couldn't go out to live shows it sucked for everyone. There was this whole new thing of like, oh, I have the time to watch music all day from my house and get to know all these bands I didn't know about, So I think there was something really cool about that, and it's still cool. And I think the COVID thing is never going to be, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever stamp it out. I don't know, man. It feels like,
it will. It's going to take a little bit longer.
It's just the virus that won't die.
No, this is it. And I think now, here we just haven't learned to live with it. But I think at the time, at the beginning of the year, we didn't know whether or not there was going to be another lockdown, etc. So we didn't know what was going to happen. I don't think that's going to come back now. I think that's out of the question. But it just made planning things so difficult, really.
Right.
We will adapt and move forward. And I think that's the way it's going anyway. Because one of the things is that some of the size venues that we have played in the past, are sadly closing. So we have to adapt. because the industry is adapting. So that's the plan anyway.
Oh, well, that leads us to, let's get to Critical Mass. So this 3-part series, and what you're also saying on your other albums. I wanted to play The Change. And listen, I'm not quite there yet, but I don't want it.
Oh, boy.
Well, maybe I do. I don't know. But
I'm not going to say anything.
No, but I want people to get the album and hear this 3-part because it starts with a diary, and the diary part is so trippy. I was like, I'm in one of those weird old movies, like, and it's kind of creepy in a way, but it's not. But it's like you guys did some trippy stuff with this.
It's interesting because Dear Diary, the narration on there, the young boy is actually my son, and
we freaked me out.
we had to bribe him with a chocolate bar to do that because at first he didn't want to say the words, and actually when you just hear the words in themselves without any kind of background music, it's fine. But what we thought about is, we're trying to explain what's going on. We do like to leave things to the listener and for them to use their own imagination. But the idea with this is that you were giving a bit of an idea as to what the story is about. But it's this idea of something that happened in this man's childhood. So therefore, we did want to have the link between a child's voice and a man's voice. And I asked my friend Johan James, who's in a band called Threshold, to do some narration for me, but he didn't have access to a studio at the time. So he just recorded it on his mobile phone. And I sent the words to him, expecting him to come back in a couple of weeks' time, and he literally just recorded it and sent me back straight away. And he did 3 versions. One of the versions was just taking the mick out of my accent because he's from the south. He loves taking the mick out of my accent. And I'll need to release that on social media at some point because it's hilarious. But anyway, because of the kind of sound recording as such not being fantastic, we thought, how are we going to do this? And Steve came up with the idea of putting a bit more of a kind of atmosphere to it, and that's how it came about, rather than the idea being to make it kind of trippy sounding to start with. It was actually to try and cover up the fact that the recording wasn't fantastic. But the happy accidents, you know. So
but that's you got to leave it to chance, because, and that's art. You can plan all you want and think you have everything down, but when you start to actually do the creation part of it, you know, the mother of music says, okay, you know, the muse will change it. That's life, you know. Well,
Absolutely.
Let's play The Change. This is the second part. You have to get the album to hear the diary, the Dear Diary part. See, you have to. But here's the middle part, which is The Change. And then after that, I want to talk to you about your band name, and I want to talk about the art also of the album cover, because the art is brilliant. So everyone, here it is, The Change. piano keys. I'm telling you, it's going to keep me there all night long. I'm going to hear those. Everyone, that was the change again. Vicki Johnson is on the show, the lead singer from the band Winter and Eden over in Northeast England, right on the Scottish border. And their new album is out now. Go get it. It's called Social Fake, and you can keep up with them at winterandeden.com. So, Vicki, those piano keys, that's kind of like the trademark of that. You know what I mean? Those ding, 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 we're going to get you.
Oh, certainly. And yeah, that's one of Steve's things, you know, he loves, you know, all of your kind of your tubular bells, etc.
Yeah.
You know, and you can hear that. You can hear the influence. But yeah, he's it does. It gets you. It's just the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, it has that
comeback.
Yeah,
it's a comeback thing. We're not done yet. Come back.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a comeback.
I think the critical mass part in this is just so well done and just it's smart, you know, and it's very creative and very cool. So tell us, the album cover reminds me of Bev Doolittle. She's an amazing artist. I don't know if you've seen her work, but when you look at it, she does a lot
I
of
see what you're saying. Yeah,
Colorado and you'll see like animals in the aspen woods, in like a tree. You'll see like hidden faces and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the album cover kind of reminds me of her art a little bit. It's trippy. Like, who did that? I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a guy. It's called Jan from Dark Grove Design, and he's actually in a band himself. He did the second album cover too, Echoes of Betrayal, and but it was a strange one with this album cover because it took a while to get exactly the vibe that everybody was thinking about, because with it being Social Fake, there was so many things that we could do with that concept. And we wanted it to be this idea of it's not really what it seems, and you know, the more that you, and I love the idea of the more that you look at it, the more that you see. It's a bit like the music that you mentioned earlier on. You know, the more times you play it, hopefully, the more, you know, you'll hear something that you haven't the first time round. And I really like that. And so the idea of the wolf in particular was not the original idea. We kind of had the idea of everything else. But the wolf was that we knew we needed something to kind of bring it all together, and we had the wolf in the last album. I can't remember who it was that mentioned, well, why don't we just use the wolf, and then the theme continues, and then it would just work. It clicked. But so yes, I mean he did a fantastic kind of interpreting, you know, what we wanted. We had some very kind of strong ideas, and he came up with a fantastic cover, and it's the type of thing that once you see it, you kind of know that's what we need to go with. But we've kind of got a similar concept in all of the album covers, really. I guess a lot of the female fronted bands, you know, it's a female fronted band. But with our album artwork, you don't necessarily know it's a female-fronted band, and that was deliberate because often, very in the early stages, there was lots of conversations about, you know, it's a female-fronted band rather than it's just a band as such, and it doesn't really bother me now, but we wanted to make it clear that it's not just one. You know, a female in the band is one person in the band. There's 5 members. Everybody's kind of equal, and so we didn't want to kind of make that the main thing on the album cover either. We wanted it to be more about something that was interesting rather than our pictures as such. You know. So,
yeah, I understand what you mean, but it's to me also Social Fake when you look at the title of the album and the listen to the title track and the concept. I mean, you've got to think about a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? And then you're seeing on the inside of the
Exactly.
wolf. I thought it was so
Yeah.
that's so cool. And then it's kind of also very interesting with, it also has a very like futuristic look, right?
That's
Where
right.
you brought nature here, but then here's this futuristic vibe
And the
you
wires.
know, it,
Yeah. Plugging it
exactly.
in. Yeah, absolutely. And the kind of the more that you look at it, the more that you see. And actually, that's what we were saying when then the idea of the wolf came up, and then that's exactly what we said. Oh yes, that works. It's like the wolf in sheep's clothing type thing. So, but yeah, it's the more that you see, and in Eva you could see like a computer board in the kind of the reflection as well if you look closely, and also just the different kind of expression on the wolf's face as well. But yeah, there's all kinds of things going on there. So
That's cool. But that's what I think is so great about it is it is one of those albums, like I know it took a while to get this one out, right? A few years. But it's one of those albums that is worth waiting for, I think, for your fans. And I'm sorry we're a little late in getting into it, but I'm so glad. Thank you, Billy, that we know, because it's like, okay, it's just so well done, and so
Thank you.
you're going to hear something every single time, and you're going to go, wow, man. It's like it's one of those albums you can totally trip out to, and I mean that in all kinds of ways. Whatever way you want to take it. So also the band, you were talking about, obviously you and your husband Steve, music lovers, get this band going. But Winter and Eden, that's such a cool name. I mean, it's like, wow, so you really like the paradox. You like to be on both sides of the coin. And dally in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It wasn't Steve and I that actually started the band.
I have no clue.
No, that's fine. I didn't want to get wrong off anybody by was saying that we started the band. It was kind of it was from the ashes of a previous band, and it was kind of organic that we all just kind of came together. It's a bit of a long story, but yes, I thought I'd better just mention that before I get my hand slapped. But yeah, and I've forgotten what I was going to say now because
the name of the band. We were going to talk about the name of the band.
So we had a conversation about it was almost like having kind of two names and like bringing them together and kind of light and shade, exactly what you've said, the masculine and the feminine, and just trying to do something a little bit interesting, really. But we didn't come up with Winter in Eden. We came up with Winter and came up with Eden, and then brought the two together. But we were coming up with all kinds of different names. It took quite a while to figure it out. So
I like it.
And then it just clicked. You kind of know when it's right. So
yes, you just feel it.
Yeah.
That's what I think is so good about it. Like, I don't know, just the title. As soon as I heard the title in the press release, I'm like, I want to know about them. And then I saw the wolf. I'm like, dude, I'm in. And then I listened to the music, and I was like, wow, this is a trip. And then I was like, okay, now I've listened to it again, and I'm like, okay, I better answer Billy. It's like, it's really cool. But honestly, when it's just, you do draw people in, because I think you have a line of curiosity, and your voice does that very well. You lead people down the garden path. You literally do, through the path of Eden, right? You don't know if you're going to get the snake or the apple, but you're willing to go. Your voice does that. I think that's really powerful, for music, where you're going on a journey. Nothing bad's going to happen, but you don't know. You guys have that curiosity in music that you don't hear all the time. And I think that's a really cool. You want to be curious as a listener. And sometimes people have a thing where they love a band and they want to hear new music from them, right? And they can't wait to get their hands on it. And then there's people where we keep listening to the same songs over and over. It's like a programming thing. It's a comfort zone. And I think that you do a really good job of getting people beyond that comfort zone, because there's a curiosity that we need, and our brains need it, our hearts need it, our we need it. If we're not curious and like what's around the corner, we're dead.
Yeah.
So I think your music for getting people to be alive and aware, that it's cool because, and also being in that middle of the paradox in that gray water, that's where cool things happen, And yeah, you can get bitten, but who cares?
Yeah, and I think the thing with us as well is that we've finally come to a place of kind of comfort, I guess, with the music, in that we're not afraid, I guess, to Winter in Eden, if that makes sense. Because in the beginning, when you're starting out, you are a bit like, do we need to sound like this? Do we need to do this? Do we need to make sure that? And and particularly when people are trying to kind of pigeonhole you into a certain genre, and then we never kind of could, and then other people were pigeonholing us, and then other people were disagreeing with them, and I think in the end you just came out and you said, when people when people ask you, what you sound like and who you are and all that, we just say, well, we're Winter in Eden. We can't really describe ourselves anymore, and we're just going to do us. And if you want to compare us to another band, then that's fine. But and I think as well, different people will get different things out of the music. We do it. I mean, personally, I can only speak for myself, I guess. I do it because I like the way that something makes me feel. I like the way something sounds. And just to go with my gut and go with my instinct on that, and hoping that other people enjoy it as well. But if they don't, that's fine. And I think once you get to that point, it makes things so much easier. And there were some tracks on this album that I thought, I love these tracks, but I really don't know how people are going to accept them. But I don't care because I like them. And then we put them out, and people absolutely loved them. Not as a shock, I guess, but that some of the songs that I thought people were going to maybe put to one side, they absolutely embraced, and it just kind of gave us that reassurance that yes, that is the right thing to do. It's be comfortable and happy in what you do, and the people will either like you or not, but you've got to keep yourself happy at the end of the day.
Well, that's true art. That's true art. That's art. Integrity to your craft. Yeah.
There's art, and then there's marketability, and then you have the marketability pundits who say, well, you can only do this, and so everybody starts doing the same thing. And then after a few years, people are like, we're really sick of this now. We want something new. So the thing is, and I think most listeners and viewers of movies and readers of books actually do embrace the new. It may take them a while to assimilate it and think about it.
Or have the time and space to do it, to give it the actual consciousness it deserves.
When you're listening to a new song, right, sometimes you meet, oh, dude, I really like that. Or you're like, oh, I don't get it. You're in there somewhere, but at least you have the ability to listen to something new. I don't want the world where everything is the same. And everything being the same is always because the cost price goes down. I'm not interested in that. And, when I look at like your album cover and stuff, like that would make a great jigsaw puzzle.
I know, so but you've got to do the opera, right? You've got to do the symphonic rock opera.
And I would like to see the wolf sing.
Yes. The wolf goes on stage with you and does like a backup. Or
I know,
it's like, so cool. Or like you got to have a howl or something cool. You got to,
Interestingly, we were signing some of the kind of little. It's basically exactly the same as the front cover, but separate. Little postcards, if you like. And we were all signing them. And I said to Ian, Ian, that looks like Trev. It doesn't look like Ian. It looks like Trev. And which is kind of a, I don't know if it's a popular name over there. It's a kind of a bit more of an old-fashioned name over here now, but for Trevor over here. And and so it just, we kind of got talking and started being silly about it, and that saying, oh, you know, what about calling the wolf Trev? And then we kind of put a little bit of a poll online to say about, oh, now which names did we come up with? It was Trev, and it was the Gary, and just some really kind of ridiculous names for a wolf. And yeah, Trev was the most popular, so it kind of got us thinking all sorts, really. Into
merchandise,
that kind of thing.
Man. We want
exactly.
Trev the wolf.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
You power. Name the
wolf power. Yeah, Trev the wolf power. Like Trev it up. With, you know.
So people loved it, and in fact, we had a section about trying to bring in, you know, different. You know, changing the name, because the Smiling Assassin, one of the songs on the
we're
the
gonna
album.
play that. We're gonna close that. Yeah.
So we were very much getting Bond vibes, James Bond vibes, with regard to that song, and that was actually its working title, you know, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, so we were talking about, and I guess this is changing it slightly because it wasn't about the wolf as such, but we got onto talking about a moose and something else, which I won't go into. But essentially, we had people kind of coming up with Bond esque kind of names to do with you know, I think someone came up with Critical Moose and all this type of thing. You know, it really got a lot of audience participation in that. So yeah, you know, the idea of Wolf Trev is definitely something that we're thinking
Wolf
about.
Trev,
you know, should we be
Madam
actually
Moose.
selling
I'm
little
sorry,
wolves
the moose
like?
now.
Yeah,
I'm like, my brain's gone somewhere else completely now because of the moose thing. Nance, don't, because we'll get the giggles. Because there's, I know, no, that is it. Wolf Trev meets Lady Moose or Madam Moose. We need Madam Moose, and she's running a brothel down the road.
No.
Sorry, I went there. I can't help it.
Well, I mean, this is it. Once you've had a few drinks, you can imagine.
Listen, it's almost 5 o'clock here. It's happening. Well, don't even. I'm going to say something I shouldn't, so I'm going to behave. But all my friends know when I say moose, you know what I'm thinking. That's all.
Right, okay. Well,
that's
there is a story for moose with us as well, so yeah.
We're not going to compare notes right now. But later, we can.
The wolf on your album cover, like, he's looking like I could take down a moose anytime I want.
Yes, exactly.
At the brothel.
Yeah.
The meta moose.
He's like, oh boy.
2-for-1 special happening right now. All right, I'm going to behave. I'm going to behave. We're going to play Smiling.
I can tell you're going to get the giggles, aren't you? You're going to.
I can't help it. It happens. We haven't hit the dead air zone yet, because we do at times where someone will be talking. Where's the? No, we're both under the table giggling. So.
No, I know. It's bad.
There's nothing better though. I love that.
Isn't it? But that's part of life, man. We gotta laugh. We gotta have the.
I mean,
have you had the giggles on stage before?
When you just
have you had that?
Have to go under the table. There's times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I did. And I can't remember what it was about now. But yes,
and sometimes it's the most stupid thing on the planet.
Okay,
and you just lose it.
During the radio shows during elections in this country, we
funny.
Dude, we went under the table so many times.
Vicky's in England. That's funny too.
It's just you guys just had what?
Yeah,
Boris
seriously,
went away.
Listen. I think that American England should just be like international TV.
Well, that's why I love the critical mass thing, because
I do too.
I feel like that describes now until the next 100 years is critical mass.
Well, even social fake and listen, the titles are really smart. Smiling Assassin. That is so. And I get the James Bond thing, but like that is so. It really goes with social fake. Like it's like the bookends. You know what I mean? Like those
Yeah.
two songs, like if we went back to the old, A and B side of a little record, that's what would be like the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Well, and then
because,
what about Blinded?
Yeah.
I could just put that label. I would like a bumper sticker or something you could just go hang it on people's necks.
Blind acceptance is so where we are as a human race.
I mean,
at times.
Some of the songs that you've mentioned there are just, it's therapy for me when I write lyrics. Because you can see certain things happening and you're thinking, what? Did I just miss the memo or something? But it just feels like, the whole idea, social media, some of the things that I see people post, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? And so, I'm never going to kind of put that all over Facebook and comment back because, that's
that's all you'd be doing.
That's the thing.
You're just going to start something that nobody's ever going to win. But
right, that's it. Like we run the business, and I won't just go and post something like that. Once in a blue moon I do, and then people will start, and I'll be like, oh God, why did I do that?
Why did you do it?
No, I want to have the conversation, but it gets ugly. And to me, we have you put it in your music where people can figure it out if they want to, or they can do whatever they want to interpret with music they can.
Exactly.
It's their journey.
Exactly.
Once you pass that off into an album, the listener takes that art form into their own way of interpreting that whole, the whole album is going to be something different. It's going to be according to
their life. It's
going to be according to
their life.
When we post something on social media, like if it's not educational, entertaining, or inspiring, like I'm not doing it because like so many people, I'm connected with so many people with so many different backgrounds. Like that's the thing. They're going to have a World War III, and we don't need that.
100%.
So, if it's something important, if we're talking gun rights, women's reproductive rights, saving our parks and our land and climate change, we'll do it with an expert on our show who will actually give you information.
Yes.
That's how I feel, like how you do your music. Because other than that, I think we all have to kind of look at spouting off doesn't really get anybody anywhere with anything. And have something informative. If it's something like that people could read or hear, I think that's the point. And we also need music because the world's some crazy stuff right now. I don't care where you are living.
Yeah.
It's some crazy stuff.
I think it always has been.
No, but it's heightened. And because we see it on the internet and TV, now everything's open, right? So we're seeing more of it?
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it's because, once upon a time, there were so many channels on the television, and, you would have to wait until you saw your favorite show the following week. Now everything's kind of instant. You've got 24-hour news channels that need to fill up that time, so you find out about things that you might not necessarily have found out about before. Yeah. And then you need people to talk about things, and so therefore it's almost as if, you've got to find something, and you're almost making stories up as you go along in order to fill in the time. But it's, you get to the point where, like you say, you don't post these things, and I deliberately don't post these things. But obviously I have opinions like everyone else. Not saying my opinion's right or anybody else's opinion is wrong, but this is the way that I can kind of express myself through my lyrics. But people will interpret it in different ways. I've read reviews of some of our things before when they've said that I've written lyrics about a certain thing and it's not about that at all. But that's their interpretation. That's their interpretation of it.
Well, actually, and that's also a thing when we do interviews, we've had to learn, because we can screw up someone's listening experience saying what we think of the song, and they want to just hear it and take their own journey
and make up their own mind.
It's even like when I was growing up, I would listen to certain songs and you would get the lyrics wrong because you heard a certain lyric and that's not what the lyric was, but in your mind, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that you talk to, I didn't realize that that's what that meant. and
so
you kind of just spoiled the experience.
Mine get a little filthy. I'm sorry. They did. If I didn't know the lyrics, I just made it up. It's like that's what it is.
Yeah. It sounds like you hear it one way, and then if you ever type in the lyrics to a song, I'm always totally shocked.
Yeah.
Those are the lyrics? Because I'm like thinking those were the lyrics.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
because
as long as you're enjoying it and you're getting what you want out of it, then I guess that's it really. So it kind of sends you out into the universe, and then let people enjoy it whichever way they want to.
We should totally do a song, like a show, just on everybody singing lyrics that they thought they knew. We should totally do that.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Because there's like, no, I'm not going to start because it's going to get naughty again. Apparently, it's almost 5 o'clock here. But, yeah, no.
I'm a bad influence on you guys, aren't I?
I know. I know. That's you playing the paradox. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show, Vicky. Thank you so much. Everyone, again, winterandeden.com is the website. Winter and Eden is the band. And the new album, Social Fake, I just wanted to say that about Social Fake, is out now. And go get it. We want to thank our sponsor on today's show, Norfolk Tours. Glenn Burrows is one of our experts here on Big Blend. And he runs Norfolk Tours. And we want to give him some promo because it sucked in travel for like the last few years, just like for musicians. It sucked. And people, it's open now, so you can go to England and you can go on a customized tour with Glenn, where he'll take you anywhere in England, but primarily Norfolk, East Anglia. So that's not by you, right? That's on the other side of the country.
No, that's a different part of the country, but lovely nevertheless.
It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And he takes people anywhere in England. He said even Scotland, he'll even take you to France. He really helps people connect with their family history, takes them to sites, especially, Americans, Australians, a lot of us will come over, Canadians. And he just basically is like, he's not a cookie cutter tour company. He customizes according to what you want to see. So check out norfolk-tours.co.uk. So we got to give him a shout out. But also, again, winterandeden.com. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. So here it is, Smiling Assassin, one of my favorite songs on the album. Thank you.
Thank you so much.